Greetings. This is Jessie Sloan, the DPI CTE data consultant. Today, we are going over CTE Career Education Coursework Snapshot Review. Here's the agenda. We're going to go over Snapshot, Data Team, WISEData Portal, WISEdash for District, Data to be Reviewed, and Resources. The next snapshot for CTE and career education data will be on December 10th of 2024. The snapshot begins at the start of the business day on that date. All CTE and career education data should be accurate in WISEdash for District well before December 10th. If you see it in WISEdash the day before the snapshot, you know that the data has been sent and received at DPI. Start this work early and not the weekend before the snapshot. It takes time for the data to flow from your student information system to WISEData Portal and then into WISEdash for District. You really can get all of your CTE and career education data done by June 30th, the end of the school year. And just an FYI, if you wait to the last minute, other people in the state are also waiting for the last minute, and everybody is resyncing at the same time, and it tends to slow up the DPI servers. So sometimes that data flow takes a little bit longer and then a little bit longer to build into WISEdash, and that's what you want to avoid. You also want to make sure you try to get this data entered into your student information in live time during the school year and checked before June 30th, because then it's all fresh in your memory about what actually happened in the school year. And again, this is just a reminder about how long it takes data to get to DPI. So you enter it into your student information system, and then most school districts are set up to send data to DPI that lands in WISEData Portal every night. So your data would have to validate through DPI rules in the WISEData Portal, and so that takes about 24 hours. Then after it's in WISEData Portal, error-free, it will move into WISEdash for District, and that will take another 24 hours. So all in all, it takes about 48 hours, 2 days for data to leave your district and go through the whole validation and build process and end up in WISEdash for District. A tip is if you have already sent data and you want to change your data, you can do that in your student information system. However, changed data for CTE and career education doesn't usually automatically flow to DPI. You will have to do a resync to retract your data and then to send new data. So your student information systems do have directions on how to resync your data when you need to make changes after you have already sent it. Data teams. So submitting data accurately is very important. It's also time saving when you work as a team and you can work together and everybody has roles that they can teach each other about the data and then actually take the time to read the data. So divide and conquer. Here are some WISEData Portal exports that you can assign people to read and review and really understand to check your CTE and career education data. So this is your raw data. These are just exports before the data goes into WISEdash for District. And the ones that I like to read are the certified, non-certified, and that is going to tell you who you have already selected or identified as being in work-based learning or receiving an industry recognized credential. The participants export will be all the students that are CTE participants that are have been scheduled and completed and passed one or more CTE courses for the reporting year. The concentrator export is the list of students that you have identified as a concentrator by using the IAC codes. And then the roster course offerings export, I really like because that is a list of all the courses and sections coming from your school, and then it will identify different programs associated with those courses. And then for WISEdash for district, have somebody on your data team that is going to look at these two snapshot dashboards. The first one is career education and coursework, and the other one is your Perkins dashboard. Here is just a quick reminder and picture of how data moves. So it is first entered into your student information system at your school, and then your school decides when it's going to be sent to DPI. A lot of schools pick every night to have the data flow, but that's up to your school district. It then lands in the WISE data portal and runs through the DPI validations, or we also call those business rules. And then 24 hours after that, it's going to build into WISEdash for district, where you can then view it and use those tables to look at your data. All right. On this slide, I have some ways to help you review your data and check it in WISE Data Portal and check it in WISEdash for District. So this first link, Career Education and Coursework Data Quality Check Demo, this is, I'm going to show it to you in the next slide, but this is actually a demo. So it's going to tell you in each column what export to look at in WISE Data Portal, and then how to set up your WISEdash for district to check the numbers to ensure that the data got to what DPI and you like what you see. Then this one is a blank version so that you can fill it in yourself. And again, use your data team to assist with all this. So not one single person needs to have all this level of access. Again, divide and conquer to make the work more efficient. Also, you can utilize the roster work plan, and then you can lay out your courses. Specifically, when we're talking about career education, we're looking at advanced placement, international baccalaureate, the arts courses, CTE courses, and dual enrollment courses. So we want to lay out all of those data elements to really understand what needs to go into the course setup so that your courses accurately report at DPI. And then always take notes on your process, because this, you might only be doing this once a year and we tend to forget. And so we want to create some habits, but also have some notes so that when we do this again next year, we remember how we did it. So this is the example of the demo sheet from the last slide. You'll open it up and it's going to tell you on the far left-hand corner the different areas to check for career education. The middle column is going to be the exports in WISE Data Portal that you need to check. So you just go into WISE Data Portal, download those exports, read through them. In this example, I just typed in what I saw, like 2 students, and then you could type in, whatever else you notice on there. And then in this column, this is WISEdash for district. And this is how I set it up to read the students and the numbers in WISEdash for district. So for certified career education programs, which has to do with industry recognized credentials and some of the work-based learning, I'm going into the career ed and coursework dashboard and looking at the first table called the technical skills attainment table. And then this is how I set it up to read. All right, this slide is an example of what WISE Data Portal looks like. And I just want to remind people up here in resources is recorded training on how to enter all of this data into your student information system. It's called the CTE data training, and it's recorded. It's of me and your SIS vendor, and we are going over the different CTE and career education collection rules, and then the SIS vendor is showing you how to click through your software so that you can enter it. And then this is where the exports live. And then just a reminder that you can filter it for a year. And typically DPI shows 2 to 3 years at any one time. When we're close to a snapshot, you'll still see 3 years. And then after we're done with the snapshot, the last year drops off. So then we only show 2 years. And you can choose to filter it by the type of school you are or an individual school in your district. And then this is an example of the exports that I like to look at. And then these are the download buttons that download to your computer in an Excel format. So this is an example of WISEdash for district and kind of where you're going and when you log in. So you'll log in and you're probably going to navigate to the dashboards, which will take you over here. But I just want to tell you as a reminder that we have a lot of how-to help guides that are really quick and help you navigate through the different dashboards and set them up. And then pay attention to the build time. So pay attention to build time because that's the last time data was updated in your district's WISEdash for district. This build time doesn't tell you exactly what was updated, but it will tell you the last time data was sent and built into your WISEdash. So that might be helpful when you're trying to figure out, has data moved? Why hasn't it changed? Okay, so the next thing is you're going to come to dashboards. You're going to click on the caret, go to snapshots, and then you're either going to go to career education and coursework or Perkins when we're looking at CTE and career education data. So I selected career education and coursework, and then it brings me up to this picture at the bottom. You're going to notice that in our career education and coursework dashboard, we have a student participation count view, and we also have an outcome count view. I typically just stay in student participation count view. That counts students once for each of the different types of programs. So for example, if a student is in work-based learning and they're scheduled in work-based learning 2 or 3 times for 2 or 3 hours a day, they're only going to be counted once. So that's participation. And then you can come down and see that you can filter your data. You can filter your data and then you can remind yourself of the dates that you are looking at. All right, so again, here are the demo sheets that I had linked earlier. And I just want to go over what this green box means. So the green box is a goal, and you want your goal to be 0. So this is saying school with no career education participants. So 2 schools in this district have no career education participants reporting. So that means this school has something going on. They're not sending data on 2 of their schools. We want to get this to 0 because then we know all of our schools are sending data. So 2 might be true, but you need to go in and investigate. And then these are the career education and coursework dashboard tables. So just a reminder that the snapshot dashboard for career education has 3 different types of tables in it. So just remember to cursor down. All right, this is an example of the first table in the career ed dashboard. And you're going to always see that there's a green for current and purple means last snapshot. So the first table is technical skills attainment, and it will always have this crosstab called program name here. You can remove it, but it's always going to start here. And so program name is going to show you all the work-based learning and IRCs in your district. I added program type because I wanted to remind myself which of the work-based learnings are certified, like youth apprenticeship, and which of the work-based learnings are non-certified. And I do that because I have to remember that my certified youth apprenticeship and all of these IRCs, they need an extra data element at the end of the grading period called certificated program status. The non-certified don't. All right. So this is the next table in the career education dashboard, and this is going to show you advanced credit. So you will have to find the advanced credit button in this column. And so I pulled it over, and advanced credit is always going to be either dual enrollment, AP, or international baccalaureate. So this example, this school only has dual enrollment and AP. They don't have international baccalaureate because it didn't populate. Then just for an example, I pulled over economic status. So this is pretty typical of what a data team is going to look at, like who is taking your advanced courses? And if they're economically disadvantaged, who are those students? Because the economically disadvantaged students for AP, we would be supporting them and paying for their AP tests. So I would know very quickly who's scheduled into AP and then who's economically disadvantaged, okay? This is Snapshot, so this is looking at the 22-23 data, but still good to pay attention to all of this. All right, and this dashboard is the arts table. Excuse me, this is the career ed dashboard, but it's the arts table. So you would continue to cursor down. And again, this is purple. So this is the last snapshot. And you will have to look through your crosstabs to find the arts type. And then you will see, it will populate all of the different types of arts that your school is reporting through your courses. And then I just picked gender to disaggregate the data. This is typically what it's going to look like. So you could see the students who are taking your arts courses. All right, so this is an example of a WISE Data Portal error 7146. And I understand this is pretty complicated for schools, so we're just going to quickly go over it. So 7146, non-primary enrollment should not submit CTE concentrator summary or certified non-certified program for a student. So when this happens, in this example, is that the school district has a virtual academy and the student is primarily enrolled into this entity, the Rural Virtual Academy. Okay. However, this another school in their district submitted the concentrator status. So they have an error 7146 because this student is not enrolled in the traditional high school. Their primary enrollment is in this district's Rural Virtual Academy. So the entity within this school district that hosts the Rural Virtual Academy needs to submit the concentrator summary. So I always think about the saying, wise is not smart. So wise will not automatically transfer the traditional high school info into the virtual school info. You have to do that on your end. So the Rural Virtual Academy should have submitted the concentrator status, and that's the Rural Virtual Academy through the school district. So this is error 7461. This is a different error. A student section exists with a certified career education program, but the certificated program status has not been submitted. Okay, so something is missing for this error, and that's what the error is telling you. And so in the spring, this error is turned on. And so pending on what time of year it is, maybe you haven't maybe the student hasn't finished the course. So I'm looking down in roster. I'm finding the envelope, looking in roster. I see the error, and then I come over here because I know this is certified program status and nothing is here. I also know that this student is in youth apprenticeship, okay? So what's missing is this school did not enter the certificated program status at the end of the grading period for this student in youth apprenticeship, and that's all they need to do. So if it's March and you're seeing this, That error is serving as a reminder to do this in June at the end of the school year, and then it will clear. Okay, so this is an example of looking at residency status when we are looking at primary enrollment. And this student is homeschooled. So their primary school is homeschool. So we eventually will be sending data on some of this because of the 1563 financial report. But I just wanted to alert you that we may need to come down and pay attention to all of our enrollment information when we are determining the primary enrollment versus the coursework enrollment and coming down and looking at the residency status. Okay, so this is an example of an export. And this is the certified, non-certified career education programs export. So I know this is complicated to read, and sometimes we just need to download it and read through it and get a feel for it. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo of what I do. So certified, non-certified always has to do with work-based learning and industry recognized credentials. Now, depending on how your school is entering work-based learning or industry recognized credentials, and what I mean by that is, are you creating a course and within the course setup, identifying either work-based learning or an industry recognized credential? Or are you entering everything for IRC and work-based learning at the student level, and you're not putting it at the course setup? So you have to determine which way you're doing it. So I download this sheet, and if I was entering everything at the course level, I would be seeing 2 lines for every student, like Jameson. So I can tell Jameson is in youth apprenticeship, and this is the local course. And then at the end of the year, the school went in and added the certificated program status for Jameson. Okay, so there's 2 lines for every student if you are setting up a course to report work-based learning. Okay, so now Cora is in youth apprenticeship, but Cora only has 1 line, and it says non-course, and there's no other course listed. So I know Cora must have done youth apprenticeship, but I don't know when or what time of day. And she does not have a course set up. She's not scheduled into a course for youth apprenticeship. Somebody just entered the youth apprenticeship at the student level and then added the certificated program status of A. So that's why she's only there once. So this can get confusing when you jump back and forth between using a course to help you report work-based learning versus just adding it to individual students. All right, here are resources. So there is the CTE Data Resources webpage. That's the page that I maintain. And on that page, there is a CTE and Career Education WISE guide. There's also a snapshot preparation guide. You also can find these other links, but I have them linked here as well. Here's the link to the report card resources, and then there's the courses and program data guide available there. And then if you need assistance with work-based learning and what the definitions of the work-based learning are, you can read the Wisconsin Guide to Implement Career-Based Learning Experiences. All definitions are in there. And then here's WISEdash for District Course User Guide. And if you need help, please reach out and let us help you. And otherwise, you are also welcome to put a DPI help ticket in. Thank you.